Okay.
Oh, you did. Got it. Awesome. We're live. Kevin threw me a curveball there. Hi, Sean from RPhAlly. We have Kevin from RPhAlly, and then we are introducing Jena Quinn, Dr. Jena Quinn, PharmD from RPhAlly, and we are launching her program today. So let's dive in. Kevin, you take it away, bud.
All right, Jenna. So I think the one thing that's always just really interesting for backstory for us is we have all these like really brilliant thought leaders, and you were definitely one of them. You were very humble about it, and we were just talking about that of really like grabbing and owning, right, all the things that make you amazing. But tell me this, like, why did you get into the specialty that you're kind of looking to be able to share with everybody? Like personally, what's the reason you wanted to do it?
So my mentor in life, who unfortunately passed away last year, and I think about him all the time, was my grandfather. And so he actually became a pharmacist, and then also became a chemist. And he worked at GlaxoSmithKline his whole life, and he was super humble. He has over 150 patents. You would absolutely never know. he I don't know where he pocketed that money, and he's giving it all to his children. But he's like the most humble, kind man, and he was so smart. And so growing up, I was like the only granddaughter who really liked to dork out with him and talk about chemistry and bio. And he would write books. So he wrote actually various books, from organic chemistry to just like everything and anything about the dopamine receptors him and his team discovered at GlaxoSmith. So he really is my mentor in all areas of life. And when he passed away, he said, like, on his deathbed, make me proud, like you can do more. And I had actually never shared with him what I wanted to do, which was start my own business and kind of get pediatric pharmacists out of just that academia hospital realm. And so I landed in peds because my sister had really complex epilepsy growing up, and she's my best friend. So with the combination of my grandfather and my sister, kind of landed in the pediatric pharmacy space. And then from there, I always noticed that, these kiddos that come in that are I worked in a NICU and PICU for over 11 years. And I noticed that there was a lot of need for medical and medication management when these medically complex kiddos were admitted to our hospital. And after further evaluation, there is no pediatric pharmacist that's uniquely trained looking at them in the outpatient world. And so hence, I birthed my business.
Amazing. I mean, I love the family story. Like we have so many family ties, I think, inside of our RPhAlly, which makes it so special to feel that way. And your grandfather and your sister's piece is really awesome. I think the one thing funny before I pass it over to you, Sean, is this: when it comes to like questions inside of pediatrics, Jenna, like I can't be more excited because my own family, like when we all think about us being pharmacists, when do you get texts at midnight? It is not because your sister or brother has a problem. It's because one of your nieces or nephews has an issue, right? And so I'm super excited to hear more about that. But Sean, throwing it over to you, buddy.
Yeah. All right, Janet. Now you've been with RPhAlly for a while. So tell us why you're launching with us with RPhAlly. We're launching your education program.
Well, I think, to be honest, before I started own my own business, I didn't really love pharmacists. So with that being said, I felt like during school we were all like super competitive. And I like never took to that nature. I was like, what are we competing for? We're all servicing the patient. And so I, over the years, and especially during this, I was like, we're so much better together. And I can't possibly accomplish what I think the patients deserve without other pharmacists. And so slowly I started joining more pharmacist organizations, and I'm like, hey, outside of school we're like not that cutthroat. And so I really, like, between this and a couple other organizations, I was like, you know what, we all need to elevate one another, and we all need to like join hands. And I didn't really feel that way in the hospital because I'm in my clinical pharmacist bubble. I'm building it was great in my hospital. I added a couple clinical pharmacists, but I didn't have this view of, let's do things, one, that we've never done before, and really try to push our profession where it's never been. And to do that, you need to do it in numbers. And to do that correctly, I also, when you're younger, you're a little more narrow-minded. I didn't understand that, I'm like, I'm the peds trained pharmacist. Everybody should come to me. And yes, I would love that, but I'm just an N of one. And so what I want to do is a couple of things. I want to, pass on my knowledge that has been over the past 11 years through residency and board cert. But the question arises, do you really need all those accolades to do this? And, no, you don't, but I think you need time. So if I kind of treating this as like, if I had someone with me for a year, what would I want them to know before, they launched out into the world and started conquering pediatric and maternal health? And then, so that education piece and collaboration. And I think too, obviously support. We all need support, our mental health, whether we're in retail and getting our butts kicked, or we're in hospitals seeing, honestly, like I definitely have trauma from seeing pediatric patients die. It's not something that I talk about, and a lot of critical care pharmacists are part of the team seeing patients die. So we need that support with one another, and we really do need to give each other opportunities. So if I can train you perfectly and you can join me in perfecting peds, that would be my best mission. Because what I'm finding is there's not a lack of opportunities out there. And from, taking on my facilities over the past six months or 5 months, I've really noticed that I can't do this by myself. 2, these kids need a lot of us. And 3, in order for us to really do a service for all children out there, right? Even if we're talking about a mom coming to the pharmacy at CVS and like all flustered, like my kid's sick, they can't breathe, what am I supposed to do? To, I have this medically complex child who has autism, epilepsy, the whole nine. We really want to give them the resources that they need. And I think to do that, that's my goal as in perfecting peds, but within RPhAlly, to really arm as many pharmacists as we can to affect as many patients.
No, I absolutely love that. And you touched into it already, Jenna. So I'll just kind of push you all the way through. You mentioned your residency. So you and I share that together. We both have kind of talked about like doing a residency and the blessing inside of a residency. Sean has tons of mentorship, to go along with it. And that took him a lot of time and money, just like it cost you and I probably, what do you say, Jenna, like $80,000 or so, give or take, to do a residency and give up that period of time.
Yeah. My parents are so appreciative. I live with them a few extra years.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So with those kinds of things, I guess really diving into like, what is the pharmacy world going to get out of your, like, the program that you have, the channel that you have created, because a 1-year experience with somebody like you that has the intimate like details of what it means to not only be a pediatric pharmacist, but build an actual business out of it, and then not have to spend $80,000 to join. Like already it's like, hey, fantastic. But really dive into the nuts and bolts a little bit on me to tell us like, here's what you should expect as a pharmacist when you're jumping in here and like why you should join.
So my goal is everything's fluid too. I just want to say, so I'm going to continuously need the feedback of the pharmacists who join. Whether it's in my business, as a mom, just in life, I always welcome people's honesty and feedback to kind of fine tune. Like even yesterday, one of the pharmacists on my team's like, hey, I really need an SOP on how to work up a patient. And I'm like, oh. Like for me, it's just like you work up the patient, but it's not as black and white. So Steph, I am going to share that I spent tons of money and time on myself is, really like going from the 101 to a pediatric patient through the different disease states, but then also having me as a point of contact in those office hours to talk about things that they may be uncertain about, ways that we can, again, improve or really tailor the program to them, because I am anticipating as we go through, and my partner in this her name's Devin. She's awesome. So Devin will be the person making everything pretty and like cohesive because I'm like a slap the spaghetti on the wall and just like, that looks good. So she's going to help make it everything pretty and cohesive. And so we anticipate doing a mix of like I already have like some CEs that are credited, so that would be nice to put in there. I have, like I said, sharing my standard operating procedures with people, like sharing like my journey and what resources I use to start this, discussing CPAs, billing, discussing where do I go for maternal health questions, where do I go for pediatric questions, right? Because I don't know everything, I just know where to look. And so really, and then working together, we have the first month up, but we want to, from that, really tailor, because if, for example, our first topic is going to be, which we have ready to launch, like how do you address the amoxicillin suspension crisis, you know? So that's something huge and impactful that we can do as pharmacists that maybe a retail pharmacist doesn't feel strongly equipped. Calling a physician and saying, hey, I have my tablets here. I'm going to half it, the 500. I'm going to do 250. I'm going to tell mom to just crush it up a little bit, put it in applesauce or yogurt and give it. That might not be something that a retail pharmacist feels equipped with, but if we can give them the resources to those common questions and help arm them with pediatric knowledge, hopefully the goal would be empowering those pharmacists to spread their knowledge to the parents and the providers.
I absolutely love that. And I'm super excited about it. And Sean, I know that you and I have talked about this with Jena's channel, with all the folks that we have out there for thought leaders. It's really like, it doesn't matter what background of pharmacy you have or what your kind of goal is. Like, if you want to know something about this subject, like, the applicability is wide and broad for retail pharmacists, for hospital pharmacists, for entrepreneurs, for ambulatory pharmacists, or someone that doesn't have that career track. So I just love that, Jena, that you have that purview to make it as accessible as possible. But Sean, I'll kick it over to you for any parting words, buddy.
No, we're excited to have you, Jena, honestly. And I think like you have a niche that our profession needs, right? You know, and I'm not going to go as far as I'll maybe dose my boys Tylenol and ibuprofen, but that's where I stop. Otherwise, I'm calling Jena. So appreciate that, Jena. And we're just excited to have you.
Same guys. Can't wait to see what we can do for, our profession and our patients.
Amen.
Awesome.
I can't agree more. Well, awesome. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining. And Sean, kick us off with how they get a hold of Jena and participate with RPhAlly.
Yeah, you bet. Just sign up at RPhAlly.com. And once you activate your account, then you can go to Jena's channel and purchase that membership and get plugged into all of Jena's material. So hope to see you there.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.